And welcome to our Future Flash Thursday on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching live, we love that interaction. So go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments or give us a thumbs up. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for taking the time to watch, and we hope that you're going to get some valuable information. We have a full program lined up today. So we're talking all about information technology and the programs that we have specifically at Kent State University at Trumbull. We have the associate's degree as well as the bachelor's degree. And today we have one of our professors in this program on. We have a current student as well as two former students. And one of our former students is actually an employer in this field. So we're going to jump right in with lots of great information. I will say if you have questions or comments throughout the presentation, please go ahead and put those in the comments. We'll be checking those throughout. And let's jump in. So our first presenter is Chris Hubinski. He is a graduate of Niles McKinley High School. He earned his associate's degree in computer technology from Kent State University at Trumbull. Then he went on to earn his bachelor's degree in computer information systems, and he did that at Kent State Trumbull and at the Kent campus. He finished off his bachelor's. During his bachelor's, he did an internship as a volunteer at the Trumbull County Education Service Center, and now he is the technology administrator for that organization. So Chris, would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience as a student at Kent State Trumbull?
Yes, thank you very much for your time. Absolutely fantastic time. The professors were wonderful to work with. And there's many times in my career, and I've been now at the ESC for about 16 years now. And a few times through my career, I often think back to a moment where one of my professors was discussing technology and how it's always ever changing. And that you need to be a constant learner. And if this is something that you find challenging, maybe the IT field is not so much for you. And that really kind of took me off guard. When he said that, I'm like, well, we're all here. We want the cool new gadgets, new technology. That's what we're here for. Well, it's often in my day job when we're planning new migrations, how much that comes back to me. And I think about that professor and kind of some of the skill sets that I acquired from Kent State that kind of get me through my day job. The technology and how it's always ever changing, it demands us to be this lifelong learner. You're constantly building knowledge. You're constantly trying to expand your experience. And with those together, you're building your confidence in your day job, in your career. That gives you the foresight for planning and moving forward. And in my case, a lot of times budgeting and building migration paths for when we're replacing servers and network devices and so forth. And I often think back to that one professor who was discussing how you need to have a attitude to be a lifelong learner and always be kind of chasing forward, trying to identify what new technologies are coming around the corner.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. My dad works in IT and he has to keep getting new certifications for new stuff that comes out. Now, Chris, can you tell us a little bit about your career? I know there's more to it than what I said, and we would love to hear your experiences.
Yeah, so a little bit of the history to, I mentioned the knowledge and the experience, and you're constantly trying to grow, that knowledge and experience. I started off volunteering at the Trumbull County ESC, trying to get my foot in the door somewhere, put something on my resume, try and provide a, kind of a bit of a starting path into my career. This was a great way to kind of jumpstart that. Traded off, I wasn't paid, but it was a volunteered position to build my experience, get my foot in the door with an employer. And then that kind of opened up, a part-time position opened up at the ESC, and I applied for it. And since everybody knew who I was and the work I was capable of doing, I worked into that position. From there, my hours grew, and then a full-time position opened up with one of our local school districts. Applied for that position. I had all the different skills that I acquired from Kent State through my internship position there, the part-time work. And then I was a full-time technician, network administrator for a school district through the ESC. I worked that position for about 5 years. And then the ESC went through a couple different changed around some department structures and so forth. They redid the technology department, and the technology administrator position was available. So I then, my name was put in for that. And I've been in this position now since '09, managing the technology department. And I report directly to the superintendent and the board, managing the budget, the hiring, and also supporting not just the ESC and our staff. We have about 300 staff members, but also supporting the Trumbull County schools as they need. There's times where they're looking to hire new technology administrators, technicians, network administrators, and I'm providing a consulting support to them.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And it seems like you have quite a range of experiences in different positions and extremely successful in what you do. So that's great. If you're now just jumping onto this Facebook Live, we're so glad you're here. Today we're exploring the information technology programs that are offered fully at Kent State University at Trumbull. So we have the Associate of Applied Business in Information Technology, and we also have a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. We also offer minors that you can tag on that are related. We have a minor in help desk support, computer forensics and security, and software development. There are also different concentrations within degrees that we're going to be talking about later, but this is our topic today. So if you're into information technology, you are in the right place. We have a couple more questions for Chris. Chris, would you mind telling us about an internship program that it sounds like you kind of helped spearhead at the ESC?
Yes, so when I took over as the technology administrator in '09, it was shortly after that I wanted to build a pathway and really kind of, I guess, twofold. One, build a pathway for the ESC and try and help people like myself when I was leaving Kent, but also a bit of a thank you back to Kent to kind of partner with them. So building the internship and working with Kent and allowing students to come is to help those students build that experience and move forward. This also gives us the ability at the ESC to introduce ourselves. We're a bit quiet. You hear of all the different school districts in the area. The Educational Service Center is just this, in a sense, I guess, a nice, quiet organization where we support those districts. Not too much marketing goes into us. So this is a nice way for us to kind of reach out into the community, introduce ourselves, give a little bit back to Kent State. And then in turn, as students came into our program and I was able to show them and train them on what we need in our tech world. How do we support our network, our servers, our infrastructure? How do we support Trumbull County schools and the range of the devices our students and staff need? This helped us develop staff who could work at the ESC, but then also when a district was in need, we would have someone available. So it was just this nice blend to, again, kind of give back and give some support for students and help them promote their career, and then connect us with those who are interested in moving forward in a network capacity, a technician capacity in a school district.
That's incredible. Great opportunity for college students. So look into that. If you're thinking of doing a degree with us, you may be working with Chris down the road. So Chris, you've mentioned working for school systems. You've also mentioned, consulting. What other types of jobs are available with someone with an IT degree? Right now, it's like everything depends on IT. So what are some of those other positions that might be available?
So positions are just like technology, always expanding, always growing. As technology grows, these positions and demands are increasing as well. For the ESC, and for our school districts, if I were to start with us, we are looking to be prepared for the remote learning situation. As we're living through COVID-19 and what we've had to go through in the past months, we've been switching gears from on-site learning to now promoting and trying to support a remote learning systems. This is where we're looking for technicians, network administrators who help us in this demand. We're bringing in new and different technologies for the remote learning. You're going to be finding the same thing in other businesses, all across industries. When I look at bringing someone in, whether it's for an internship or if I'm interviewing, to fill a position at the ESC or to help fill a position at a school district, I tend to ask, and we'll open up the conversation, but I will ask, to the candidate, are you more hardware based? Do you like working with endpoint clients? Do you prefer working on network switches and servers based? Are you looking into programming, cybersecurity, graphic design? So with IT, there's a number of different, we can say, silos that you can get yourself into. And as I would say to all the new students and the current ones, as you're moving through Kent, you're going to want to identify where is your passion sit. Are you interested in, working help desk, endpoint devices, configuring and supporting end users, being in a sense where you're working with staff and their devices? Are you looking to be more on a larger scale where it is managing network devices and servers? Do you want to get into programming and coding? So going, looking at IT again, especially in the world we're living in with COVID-19, things are starting to change and more, especially with the intense demand for remote learning right now.
Sounds very vast. And we wish you the best in the coming school year, as you'll probably be helping a lot of people figure out remote learning and, you know, helping those teachers and everybody. So thank you so much for your time. And unless you have anything else you want to share, we are just so grateful and look forward to maybe sending some students your way for an internship. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
You too. And now we're going to hear from one of our well-loved professors in the IT program. Kent State Trumbull has a wonderful Tony Zampino as a professor. Many of his students actually call him Tony. I'm going to try to call him Professor Zampino today. But Professor Zampino, let's ask you a little bit about where you got your education. Let's start easy. Where did you get your education and how long have you been part of Kent State Trumbull?
Sorry about that, I was unmuting. I went to Kent Trumbull. And I started there as a student back in 1989, and I received my associate's degree, went on to get my bachelor's from Kent Trumbull, and then received my master's from the School of Technology at the Kent campus. Before becoming a professor, I started out as a student employee. And I worked there for many years and then eventually got hired in as a full-time staff. And then eventually started teaching as an adjunct. And eventually a position came up where I started working full-time in the computer department, the IT faculty department.
Great. So you've been part of Kent State and Kent State Trumbull in many different facets.
Yeah, for over 20 years I've been here. I'm starting to become a landmark, I think.
So do you have something you want to share about the different types of things you've done within IT? There's so much I don't even know about, so I'm not going to even try to list them, but what Chris was listing, all the different silos, what do you have most experience in?
Well, and that's where I started off at, working in the computer center at the campus. We wear many hats, being a small university, being a small campus. When we worked there, we were, like I said, many hats. And what I mean by that is, you know, one day we may be doing help desk. At the time I first started, that's when the World Wide Web really started at the same time. So I was there at the ground stages of a program we used to call Netscape, is what we used to view the pages with. So at that time I started developing web pages. We had to work on multimedia for the classes, the classrooms and stuff like that. You know, we worked networking, fixed hardware. So when you work in a department, and Chris probably can attest to this, when you work in a department like that, you do wear many hats. And sometimes having a good background, a well-rounded background in IT is what, you know, is very powerful in this field.
Sure. Thanks for sharing. Finally, for now, we're going to come back with more questions about the program specifically. But just for fun, Professor Zampino, what is one of your interests outside of work?
Believe it or not, it's one of them is computers. But other than that, I'm a big movie buff. I love to watch movies, especially older movies. You know, and really I enjoy working with the students. I mean, that is, you know, I wish more students would reach out and contact me to talk and stuff like that. But, you know, I do really enjoy the interaction with the students.
Thank you, Tony. We'll come back to Tony. It is very evident that he loves the students and the students love him. His office is a popular place, and I think there's a candy dish in there too somewhere. So next we're going to hear from one of our recent graduates from the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. Mandy Campbell graduated in 2019 from Kent State Trumbull, and now she is in the field. She graduated from Newton Falls High School, and she started out at a private school, and then she transferred to Kent State Trumbull. Mandy, thank you so much for being with us today. And do you mind sharing first how you chose Kent State Trumbull and maybe why you chose IT? How did you get interested in that?
Certainly. And my background is, and I apologize for not having a picture. I don't have a webcam with me today. But my background is a little different than most. I actually started out, I'm in my 40s. I started out in sales. I had a very strong customer service background. So I went to Hiram College for social science with a concentration in psychology and marketing. IT wasn't even a vision at this point. Probably in about 15 years ago, an opening came up in the company I was in, and it was for a help desk position. They had just installed a new ERP system. I caught on to it really quick, and so they moved me into that position, and it took off, and I learned that I loved it. I enjoyed being in the IT environment. I joined the department I worked in, and I loved the fact that within the IT department, you are constantly learning something new. You're not doing the same thing. It's not repetitious. And I kind of fell in love with that and learned it was my niche. But what I found is I couldn't move on because I didn't have the right degree. I didn't have any formal IT training. And my supervisor left and the new one came in, and he was actually a graduate from Kent Trumbull. From the IT department, and he became the director of information technology where I was at. And he kind of guided me and got me into, talked me into taking classes at Kent Trumbull. So that's kind of how I became a student there. It was close to home. It fit my schedule. Economically, it fit into the budget that I had set for myself for this degree. So that's kind of how I came about being a student at Kent Trumbull.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I love hearing everyone's different story, but a lot of it comes down to convenience, affordability, availability of the program you need. And it sounds like you really have found your niche. So that's awesome. I have another question for you. So what would you say, looking back on your time at Kent Trumbull, what is one of the most valuable things that you learned as a student?
Being at Kent Trumbull, the one thing I learned is to not be afraid to ask questions. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in the systematic part of being in school. You just go in, you do the work, you hand it in, you get stuck. The one thing about Kent Trumbull, and I will attest this to Professor Zampino especially, is if you reach out to the professors, they are there. And it kind of taught me that not just in college, you get used to, I need help me. Or, look, I found this is cool. People are interested in it. And you can carry that into the job you go into. So not only what you do in school, reach out to your professors and work with them. If you do something cool, show them. If you get stuck, ask for help. When you go into the job market, do the same thing. So that's kind of what I learned at Kent Trumbull. I learned it to ask for help, to show off if I found something really cool, and to carry that on into the job market that I went into.
Awesome. I see Tony nodding. This is really good advice for any student, IT or not. So is there any final advice, Mandy, that you'd like to give to students that are considering the IT program at Kent State Trumbull?
To think outside the box. My experience with IT is different. I have a background, like I said, in sales. So I got this IT degree, and I worked in the IT department at where I was at Trumbull Industries, and I did well there and I enjoyed it. But then an opening came up that I never thought I'd like. It was for a business process analyst. And that takes a little bit of this business background, and it takes the IT background, and it combines it into one. And I found that now I'm doing something that I love to do, that I enjoy doing. I get up, I like going to work. So always keep your mind open, always learn something new, because even if, IT is such a broad spectrum, and Chris had made the comment that, there's so many different silos. Well, sometimes you can find a job that can combine those silos. I do business processing, so I do flowcharts and teach software. I work with training platforms and design training videos. I program a little bit of Visual Basic. Even out of college, I've even emailed Professor Zampino because I got stuck on a code. I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. I do a little bit of everything now, and I enjoy it. So think outside the box, and if there's something that interests you, research it. Look into it and see what you need to do in order to succeed in that field, if it's a field you want to go into and you're interested in.
Thank you so much, Mandy. That carries along the theme of being a lifelong learner, like what Chris is talking about. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you sharing, and we'll let you get back on with your day. But go Flashes, and thank you for helping represent. We're going to hear from a current student in just a little bit, but we're going to bounce back over to Professor Zampino and find out a little bit more about the nitty-gritty of how these programs work. So the BSIT stands for Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. Tony, can you tell us what this is and maybe what concentrations are available in this degree?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you tell us what the BSIT is and what concentrations are available?
Yes, it's a 4-year degree, and it has, in just to start in, it has a associates that you can plug into it. So if you come with a associates in IT or another field, you can plug that in. But it is the 4-year program. And what we like to do with our programs here at Kent Trumbull and throughout the other regionals is not only are you going to concentrate in an area of study, but we're also going to give you other courses that you may not think are related to that, such as like if you're going for application development, we may have you take, you will take some networking classes. And you know, just so that you, when you graduate, you're going to understand that, you know, this is how you develop a web page. This is how you do like a connect to a network. Because what you'll find out is a lot of these tracks I'm going to talk about in a second are all related to each other. And the first one I'm going to cover real quick is application development. And these are for people that are interested in programming. Right now, we currently offer Visual Basic, C++, Java, C#. We're looking into Oracle. We've taught some Oracle classes. So we do offer quite a few programming languages in this degree. And I will say this, if you're a logical person, then application development's right up your alley. Now, we do offer a cybersecurity and forensics, which is really a good topic, which concentrates on security and computer networking systems, making sure that they are secure, and also, you know, if something comes up, they can find out where it's coming from, stop hackers and information like that. We have a database design and administration, which is also, you know, tied right into programming. These are programs such as SQL statements, SQL, and Oracle. We have a health information technology, and we do have quite a few tracks, which is great. But this is provide students with tools to install, manage, and troubleshoot and secure hardware and software system in the healthcare environment. Now, if anybody has visited a hospital lately, you can see that everything is computerized and a lot of it's wireless, but there is also a lot of networking involved. We have the integrated information technology, which is ideal for students who want a flexible course to study, which means they're not sure where they want to go, so they can almost develop the courses they want to take. We have a internet multimedia, and these are people that are interested in creating different multimedia for companies or working on creating web pages. We have a networking track, which just concentrates and the focus on setting up a network. Now, I will emphasize in these courses is sometimes you'll be taking a software package your freshman year that by the time you're a senior is already updated and changed. So it's important that in these classes that you're taking, these courses, that we are also challenging to learn on your own. So we are designing them so that students know how to do the research after they graduate so that they're not having to go back and take other classes.
Sure. And as a graduate from Kent State Trumbull, I didn't do IT, but I definitely developed that love for research and that love for learning, and you just never stop. And your professors are a great person to talk to about choosing a concentration. We also have academic advisors that will work with you if you change your mind halfway through. They'll help you figure out the best path to get the concentration you want. So reach out, reach out, reach out. So that's the BSIT. I posted a link in the comments you can click on for more information about that. Now we're going to swing over to the associate degree that Professor Zampino mentioned. It's the Associate of Applied Business in Information Technology. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Tony, and maybe what you can do with that degree?
Sure. Here again, with any degree you have, unless you already have the position, you're going to start off at an introductory level. So that means usually you're going to start at the base of the company and you got to work your way up. If you heard what Chris said about his degree, you know, he started with the internship and the which got him into the company, into the school, and worked his way up. So a lot of these degrees are going to get you into the base, and that's where the associate degree starts. It's a really good start, and it is set up with concentrations just like the BTSI, but you know, the concentrations, there isn't as many, okay? And a lot of the courses is in positions that you may start off with would be help desk, just working in a computer center, you know, like an office surrounding, working on PCs. So there is a lot of jobs that will get you get in with the associate's degree. But here again, eventually you'll need to turn that into the bachelor's, which I encourage all the time.
All right, thank you. And now I'm sure there's some questions about what's online versus what's in person. COVID aside, what does Kent State officially offer as an online program or an in-person program?
Okay, very simple. Our online program is 100% online, which means all of our courses that you could receive face-to-face, you can get online. I will be honest with you, we do offer more online because the demand for face-to-face is not there like the online courses. But we as a campus, and what's nice, not only is we as a campus, as I keep saying we, but we are a 7-school system we have all the regionals involved with this program too. So we have IT faculty at every regional so that we're able to cover multiple courses a semester, which is perfect for online because you may need a course that's not being offered at Trumbull till the spring, but Ashtabula is offering it in the fall web-based. So, or, you know, Salem may be offering something. And what's really nice about this program is all the IT faculty are wonderful to work with. They're highly trained, have a lot of experience, and are very knowledgeable of the program.
All right, thank you for that. We are going to come back to Professor Zampino, find out a little bit more. But for now, we're going to swing over and listen to Isabella. She is a current student. She graduated from Holland High School in 2018. She's a very high achieving student at Kent State Trumbull. She's a student employee. She's doing excellent. She's actually a double major in psychology and information technology. So Isabella, do you mind starting out by telling us how you chose Kent State Trumbull?
Hi, Melissa. Thank you. So I chose Kent State Trumbull. Actually, I'm not going to lie and say it was my first choice because coming out of high school, I actually had other plans, but sometimes not everything works out. So when you are looking for something close to home after maybe changing your plans, that was one of the ones that stuck out to me. And I thought about just maybe trying out my first year there because maybe I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I found that the tuition is very affordable. The flexibility to be able to change your major one, two, or maybe three times like I did is possible because there's great academic advisors there. And, you know, a lot of your general classes that you're going to be taking at first are going to count toward any bachelor degree. So you're not getting behind, and if you do, it's okay, because it's okay to switch your major. So that was one of the main reasons why I chose Kent State Trumbull.
Thank you, Isabella. And yeah, I would say Kent State Trumbull isn't the first choice on everyone's list, but it ends up being a really practical choice when you look at the numbers and you look at the distance and you look at the programs and when you look at the reputation that Kent State has. So Isabella, you've landed on psychology and information technology. Are you doing a specific concentration in IT? And if so, what is that?
So yeah, psychology and IT are very different things. A lot of people kind of look at me real weird when I say that, but I'd already started psychology off the beginning, so that's why I was doing that. But for IT, I chose to do the applied computer and forensics, security and forensics concentration because of what I wanted to do with my degree down the road, and because I didn't know a lot about IT. My mom works in IT, and she does a lot of different management with sales force and stuff like that. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So looking into it, the cybersecurity end of it kind of really piqued my interest because I was very curious about security in general outside of the computer world, and to be able to mix those two things, I think it was pretty awesome. So that's why I chose that concentration.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you will always have a job because technology is not going away. Security issues are not going away. And psychology is helpful for everybody. I joke sometimes really everybody needs a psychology degree to just live in this world. So you're going to be set to go. Now, I was wondering if you could share a little bit about being a student employee. Maybe what are some of the other jobs available for students on campus, maybe specifically in the IT field?
So student employment is one of the most convenient and best things I've ever chosen to do thus far. And I think that the reason is because you meet so many people and you start networking with people on campus. And the jobs that I specifically do, I started out up at the switchboard, which was just answering the phone, and then kind of got in there and then got down to the computer center and the learning center. And that's kind of where IT started to come into play. And it was around the same time that I chose IT. So it worked out perfectly. So down in the computer center, you can do a lot. Professor Zampino, he worked there, and he obviously talked a little bit about that, but you do wear many hats. You have to do a lot of things. And as far as help desk goes, security, everything, you know, students come down and they need help with their personal laptops, things like that. But I think it's convenient for you as an IT student because it gets your foot in the door with where one day I could be doing something for work that maybe I was learning about in class. And it's pretty cool to be able to relate those things physically when you're taking an online program. And then I was already tutoring in the learning center. So when I went into IT, a lot of the times if there was a computer problem in the learning center, they would always call upon me, even though I didn't know much yet, but they tried to be like, oh, you can just go fix that in there. So, I mean, computers are everywhere on campus, but those are some of the jobs that I had.
That's great. That makes me think of being a nursing student and everybody asks you all their medical questions. So do you have a dream job, Isabella? Anything that you're like, wow, if I could do this with my degrees, this is what I would want to do?
So like I said, I'm very interested in cybersecurity. As I started taking my classes, I also was interested in kind of like network administrators and what they do with servers and things like that. Because of our IT department on campus, I got to see a lot of what happened as far as that. And I think that I'm kind of on the edge right now, but I think I might pursue a master's in cybersecurity after my undergraduate. So stick with Kent State and do that, and then maybe go into the field of cybersecurity because it's very evolving and you're always going to need it. So
Very true. Well, we wish you the best in that. That's awesome. Back to student involvement. Do you have any recommendations for students thinking about going to Kent State Trumbull, or maybe thinking about what they can do to get involved on campus?
So there are a lot. Most people think that because it's a small campus and it's a branch, there isn't involvement, and there's so much involvement. I personally got involved in the honors college, not off the bat because I actually didn't know much about it off the bat, but you're still able to get involved with it after you've been there for a little bit. So that got me in with, you know, a more challenging course load, which some people would look at you and say, why? But it really helps you in the end. So the honors college is something you're looking at. If in high school you wanted to be challenged, it's a possibility in college as well. There's student ambassadors. I am one of those, and I'm still new to that because right when I got into it, we kind of COVID happened and we kind of got off campus. But I know that they do a lot of work with doing tours and just getting involved with incoming freshmen as well. I'm also involved in the research program with Kent State. I'm currently in the student undergraduate research program for the summer, SURE for short. And you can work with a mentor to do some research work. There's research work on each campus, and we're a big research school with anything. You know, I'm personally involved in psychology-based stuff, but there are so many different topics as far as research goes, and it helps you evolve your abilities when it comes to learning about your degree and stuff like that.
All right, thank you for that. Do you have any final advice for students thinking about doing an IT degree at Kent Trumbull?
My biggest advice is to try out some of the classes, even if you think that that might not be the degree you want to do. You know, that's something that I find important to give advice to incoming freshmen. Is I started out thinking I was going to go into nursing, and as you can see, I'm nowhere near there, but trying out classes in each undergraduate program is not a bad thing, and it will get you to realize whether or not this is what I want to do. And being at a branch college, it's very flexible because you're close to home, and being there the first 2 years, you know, you have that ability to change your major and figure out what exactly it is, and talk to the other people that are involved with IT on campus too. I talk to Frank Lindsay, which is our IT manager, all the time about what is needed. And, you know, Professor Zampino, he is very knowledgeable on a lot of different topics. So talk to those people, ask them what their stories were, because that is like the biggest way to figure out if that's what you really want to do, is talking to people who are already and have already been through the program.
Very good advice. Thank you so much, Isabella. It's great to hear from you as a current student in the IT program. Now we're going to go back over to Professor Zampino, one of our information technology professors. Professor Zampino, would you mind sharing some of the classes that you teach? What are some of those topics?
Currently in the summer right now, I'm teaching an advanced hardware course and C++. I teach in the fall, I'm teaching a hardware course, an operating system and network technology. I'm doing a Visual Basic. We're also doing mobile app security. So, and then I've in the past, I have taught in some like Photoshop courses and Premiere in the multimedia end of the subjects. Here again, SQL, Oracle are courses I have taught in the past.
That's great. Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in your class? What do your students expect when they come into class for the day?
My courses are currently, for the last couple of years, have been all online, which is a challenge sometimes because you know, in the class you have the ability to have everyone at once. So if a question is asked, you know, you can answer that question and not have to repeat it over and over again with emails, which isn't a problem. But you know, sometimes your answers are gotten a lot quicker in a face-to-face. But I will tell you that in our web-based courses that we offer, we use the cutting-edge software in order to share those courses. we on campus have remote desktops, which enable the students to have all the software that a student in a face-to-face class would have. So if for some reason, or if you're taking Visual Basic, and with our remote desktops, you do not need to purchase the Visual Basic program, because you can log into the remote desktop and access that. And like I said, we teach a lot of the courses we teach are cutting edge, and we use the top software that's available right now in the field.
That's great. And maybe what's a homework assignment that you would give your students? Just for students that don't know what IT is all about, what would be one homework assignment?
Sure. I'll talk about my hardware course. I use a program that is called Cengage MindTap. And what it does is it has labs in there where you can simulate putting a computer together. Or if you're in my C++ class, what you do is watch a video of a program lecture, and then you would turn around and create the same program. So I have assignments like that. I have a lot of video lectures, a lot of interactive lab assignments. You know, I do have some outside research that you have to do, term papers, articles, just things that keep you challenged to learn new topics in the field.
Sure, thanks. I'm hearing some common themes like never stop learning, and there's tons and tons of options, and reach out for help. Do you have any other final advice or final words for students maybe considering doing IT at Kent Trumbull?
Yes, I do. You know, and Chris is really helped me with this, with offering internships to our students. With the bachelor's degree, we have an internship opportunity, which could be repeated up to 2 times, which means you can do an internship for 2 semesters. We also have what is called a practicum, which goes along with the associate's degree, and it is technically an internship for the 2-year degree. The reason I always say that the internships are really good is that you get your foot into the door, you're getting an experience. So, you know, when you graduate from college and you start looking, they want 2 years experience, or they want a year's experience. Well, the internships work that way as a way to get you the experience that you need. And the practicum now, lots of times, you know, you make an impression, and a lot of our companies that have done internships have hired people on part-time, full-time, which also builds that experience that you need. I also think students should try to reach out and get jobs on campus, especially in the IT department. You know, those are ways to build your experience. You know, and here again, not only do you need this degree when you're done, you need the experience in the field.
Sure, we need IT more than ever before. So thank you for, you know, you and everyone else in the IT field. We appreciate you pulling us through this whole switch to virtual and switch to remote and switch to everything being online. Speaking of that, we are offering virtual tours. So if you want to check out campus, we do Zoom tours. You can stay home, stay safe, and tour our campus. We're also now offering, starting next week, in-person tours for 1 person at a time. You can come, you wear your mask, you walk around campus safely. That'll give you a better feel for what our campus is like. We also have a virtual Trumbull page. So I put the link in the comments. If you want to visit that page, we have a chat on there. You can chat with someone in the admissions staff. You can watch some videos, some short little videos of students talking about their experiences. Our website also has a ton of information about the different programs we offer. So if you follow that link and then end up somewhere else on our website, you're sure to find out something interesting. Look for something that interests you and then reach out with questions about that. We are here to help. We're working from home most of the time, but we are working, so we're happy to help. Thank you so much to each of our presenters, Chris and Professor Zampino and Mandy and Isabella. And thank you, Bill, for being on our tech support side of things. Thank you all for the time, and thank you, viewers, for watching. We're so I'm glad that you spent this time with us today, and we hope you'll reach out with questions. Go Flashes!